name is David Maillu. I was born in Cumberland when there were threats that the Second World War was going to start. And of course we know that it started in 1939. I authored October 1939 to be my date of birth. I went to school actually in 1951, so obviously I was 11 years old. It wasn't my parents who decided to send me to school. Colonial education didn't really push you to go to school. So it was my own decision. I decided I'm going to go to school, and so I went to school to Standard 1. But the story was, before I went to school, I got curious. I started, trying to make myself, read or to educate myself. And so I did substantially, so that when I went to school in 1951, actually, I was in Standard 1 for about 2 weeks, and the teacher said, no, you are already too developed. I was pushed to Standard 2. And now when we started doing the exams, I still was the top. It will look, and I had this has been my theory, that I believe even if I didn't go to school, I would have finally educated myself. The first school was a primary school. It's called Care Salvation Army School, and that was as a colonial education was from Standard 1 to Standard 4. And from Standard 4 you sat for an exam which was called Common Entrance Examination, which if you qualified, and it made sure that many people didn't qualify, you would now be you now proceed to intermediate school, and intermediate school was Standard 5 to Standard 8. And when you do your Standard 8 exam, which was called the Kenya Preliminary Education, Kenya African Preliminary Examination, my formal education finished after I had done Kenya African Preliminary Examination. That is seeing a teacher before me. But I went to a technical school to study painting and decoration, and while I was there, I enrolled in correspondence to now study for my O-level, and that is, I became a self-taught person, doing exams one after the other, and so I turned my home where I was into high school, and which also finally became my university school or college or anything like that. And so I would say the later stage of my education is self-taught, because I actually wanted to be educated. I loved education right from the beginning, and as I said, even before I went to school, I had still been teaching myself. I enrolled in correspondence with a tutorial college called British Tutorial College. There was one, and so I had to keep on paying my school fees to study independently as anyone else. But it was also very important that when I finished my technical school, which took 3 years. By the time I finished, and when I was still continuing with my high school, out of the informal kind of way, then I was able to work for my family. But I continued with education, And now the writing part of it started very early. As soon as I was able to go to school, or when I went to school, I was very good in storytelling. So that was a time I also started writing, I got curious. I still remember when I was in Standard 5, I tried to translate an English storybook. It was called A Prince with a Golden Hair, something like that. That was my first attempt, and I don't know why. And then at a later stage, before I finished now the intermediate school, I was able to, I started writing. I was interested in writing sometimes letters. So that continued even when I went to now technical school. I was writing. So it grew with me as my education also grew. I think the main thing is that I feel I have a story to tell. And the story to tell, I have that passion of sharing how to. For children, for example, I'd like to help in solving their problems, and you create the problems and try to solve them for the child, and you are a teacher, and a teacher is trying to communicate with the students. This is a more complex thing because I'm lucky because I can do these things in 3 forms. If I can't write it, I express it through singing because I'm a musician, I'm a guitarist. If I can't do that, I also can paint because I'm a painter. So, but the 3 of them are just saying the same thing. Personally, I have 1 wife, and I have 1 daughter with her. I met my wife in Nairobi in 1969, actually outside the church house. She was working for National Christian Council, and I was working for Voice of Kenya. And the meeting was that. That is as simple as that.